Welcome to our Vue 3 Composition API tutorial on state management using refs. Let's dive straight into our first code snippet. Here, we are importing the ref function from Vue's core library. Using the setup function in our component, we create a state variable called counter with an initial value of 0 by using ref. Notice how we modify the counter state using counter value ++ inside the increment function. This function will allow our template to interact with the state. We then expose counter and increment to our component's template for use. Looking at the template, we have a simple button with an @click directive. When clicked, it calls our increment method. The current value of counter is displayed within a paragraph element, wrapped in double curly braces, which is Vue's syntax for data binding. Because we're using the Composition API, this display dynamically updates whenever counter changes. Now, let's focus on the increment function. In Vue 3's Composition API, to update a ref, we access the value property. Here, each time increment is called, it adds 1 to the current number. This reflects the reactive nature of refs in Vue 3, causing the component to re-render and update the displayed value. Back to our state declaration, const counter equals ref 0 creates a ref which is a reactive wrapper around the literal 0. Unlike reactive state, which is another way to manage reactive data in Vue, refs are best suited for primitive values like numbers or strings. It wraps these values in an object with a value property. After we define our ref and methods in the setup function, we return them so that they can be accessed inside our template. This is crucial as setup is called before the component is created, yet after the props are resolved, making it the perfect place for defining reactive state. You might notice there's an alternative script setup format in the second code snippet. This concise block is part of the SFC less than script setup greater than, which is syntactic sugar for using the Composition API in single file components. It imports ref and defines counter and increment in the same way, but with less boilerplate, making your components cleaner and easier to read.